On. Hello there. Yes, we are geeks assembled, and there's just four of us gathered here today, and we're going back to 1994 with the very first Stargate. Yes, the very first Stargate film. And I'm going to open this up by asking everybody here what they thought of this film going into it. When we chose it, what did they think going into it? So whoever wants to start first.
I'd seen the first episode of Stargate last year because it was recommended to me, and I didn't like it that much. The issue with me is that I don't really enjoy high concept sci-fi, and this is sort of it. And so I sort of knew what to expect with Stargate. But I saw the cast list, Kurt Russell being the main character, and I thought, well, I do like Kurt Russell as an actor, so I'll give this a try, knowing what I saw in the first episode. And I was actually pleasantly surprised by it. Kurt Russell is definitely like the best part about it, but yeah, I think perception-wise, the first episode of the TV series, SJ1, I believe it's called, didn't sell me on Stargate. So this was sort of like a second try at that. It hasn't sold me fully on going back and rewatching any of the TV stuff or anything, but it's slightly better than the TV stuff at the moment, I think. If I do go back and watch it, then we'll see at that point. But yeah, that's what I thought, really, perception-wise, going in.
Me, personally, I sat down and watched it and realised that I hadn't seen the movie before.
Really?
For some strange reason, I've mentioned that I dipped in and out of the series. You know, just when you channel hopping, I wasn't a sit down avid fan of Stargate. If I found it was on a TV channel, I would flick on it and watch the last 10 minutes or first 10 minutes of an episode, stuff like that. But for the film, watching it and realizing when I was watching it, I don't think I've seen this before. So I was pleasantly surprised. I had to ask Alid earlier on today about the movie being.
What was it about? We asked, and what happened? So I can think of a review.
I asked, was the TV series a continuation of the movie, or was it a totally separate item from the TV series? And Ali explained what it was, but because the Kurt Russell character's name is the same one in the TV series, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you mean
but a different actor?
Yeah. Duke Nukem.
It's
not Duke, a good game though. But
Colonel O'Neill.
Colonel O'Neill with spells. Colonel O'Neill is this is the prequel to the television series. It's a prequel to all the television series. Because Colonel O'Neill and then General O'Neill start Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe, and Stargate SG1, and so.
It's good job we've got some fans here. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by it. I mean, I love the Egyptology of it all, the pyramids and all that, and this saying, it was, you came from there, didn't you? But it's the way they was saying that the god Ra was an alien, sort of an alien. And all that. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I was pleasantly surprised.
What did Susan think going into it? Because I know you're a big Stargate fan like me, Susan. What did you think when we chose this film to watch?
I like the movie. I prefer the television series, but I like the movie. The movie was cool. I like that they went to Abydos and met the aliens who were basically descendants of humans, and none of that's talked about. But they did have quite a little bit of the Egypt myths represented in this. There was Ra, there was Anubis, there
Mhm.
was in the dog head, and the way that they were sort of like the hieroglyphics in Egypt, and so it was Egyptology. And Daniel Jackson was fun, precocious, and amazing. And let's see, uh, the other people that I liked were, I liked Skara and his group of people, his little group of youngsters who, came to, align themselves and walk with O'Neill and Jackson and what's the other guy's name? He ended up in the TV show. I can't remember his name. Anyway, there was another colonel who ended up in the TV show. And then the other thing that I liked Jay Davidson's portrayal of Ra. That was eerie and spooky and a really good baddie. So that's
Yeah. I have to say, for me, when we chose this film to watch, when this film was chosen, I thought, well, to be honest, I didn't have a lot of, I don't know, I didn't have a lot of enthusiasm to watch it because I remember it being quite poor. I remember it being quite poor, and it gets quite a bad rap, to be honest. I remember it being a mediocre film, and Stargate, the TV series, Stargate SG1 and Atlantis are amazing. They are amazing. And if you're not a fan of Stargate SG1, you watch a few episodes and generally watch them. Lee's gone. If you generally watch them, then you will become a fan. I think you will. I think you've got to give it time. But I was really pleasantly surprised when I watched this. I was really pleasantly surprised because I remember it being very mediocre, and I thought, it's 2 hours. When I saw it was 2 hours long, I thought, oh, got to sit through a mediocre film for 2 hours. But I watched the whole thing at once. All the way through. In fact, what time did I watch it? I watched it about 9:30, I think, and I thought, I'm going to watch an hour of it, and then I'm going to go to bed and watch the next hour tomorrow, the next day, which would have been today. And I just ended up watching the whole thing. I ended up watching the entire thing. And now we're going to go into favourite characters and favourite moments. And I would like to say that I think, Jack O'Neill, the man who plays him, isn't as good as the man who plays him next. He isn't. This Duke Nukem one doesn't work. Duke Nukem, because he does look like with a haircut. I mean, looks like Simon Cowell, really. If Simon Cowell was crossed with Duke Nukem, So, yeah, I mean, the best character is, and he's escaped my name now. Oh, Daniel Jackson is the best character in this. He really carries this. Daniel Jackson does. He really does. The character of him really carries it. He's the main focus. But I'm going to open the floor to whoever wants to speak about their favourite characters and moments.
I have to agree about O'Neill.
Your camera's off, Connor.
Yeah, no, it's glitching when it's on, so I can't keep
right.
But yeah, O'Neill is probably the best character in this because when you've got a film like this with a cast like that, Kurt Russell is going to outact you any day of the week because there's no one really there that can keep up with him. But as you said, Daniel Jackson is a good character as well. I do like the idea of having like an archaeologist, sort of like a bit Indiana Jones, where you've got a group of people, one being an archaeologist, and scientists exploring this world and discovering this god that's an alien. But I think O'Neill and Jackson are the best characters. But as Susan said, Jay Davidson as Ra is creepy, and it's a great idea. It's the film in its total sort of run wasn't that great, but those three characters sort of made it at least watchable for me anyway.
The rest of the characters, I have to say, the rest of the characters weren't that well fleshed out. There was only 2 or 3 that were kind of fleshed out, and the rest of them were like, just, it could have been anybody with any life, you know.
Yeah, I think when you've got a crew like that, there's quite a few people, it's hard to juggle this time to flesh everyone out. I think they fleshed out the correct characters, being O'Neill and Jackson.
What does Lee have to say? Who's your favourite characters, Lee, or favourite moments? Or
Well, I think James Spader is a brilliant actor. He, for me, was the best in the film. Kurt Russell, didn't really do it for me. He didn't have really much to do or say. He didn't actually say much in the film, to be honest. I can understand why he didn't go through to the TV series and they got the other guy to do it. I can't remember the actress's name, but the one who played the old woman who financed the experiment beginning of the film, she was a very good part. I loved that. I loved her part. Also, I loved the wild creature, great big horse thing or whatever it was. I thought that
buffalo, whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah, a buffalo thing, and the scene in that where he's dragging James Spader along by the foot across the desert sands, and that was funny. That, and also, the part of the evil Ra inhabiting that young boy's body, that was just sort of a bit creepy at times. That was, those are things what stood out for me. Yeah, it's all the Egyptology for me. I just loved it. Saying it all came from outer space and the pyramids and all
but you must watch the series
gods.
then.
You
must watch the series.
But as you mentioned earlier, there's how many episodes?
214, and that's just of Stargate SG1. That's not including the spin-offs.
Yeah.
But I have to agree with you.
There's a lot to get through.
I love ancient Egypt. I'm fascinated by anything ancient Egypt. So it does help if you are a fan of ancient Egypt. Does Susan have any favourite characters? Let's go. Oh, you've mentioned yours, haven't you, Susan?
Yeah, I have.
You can talk about them again in more detail if you want.
That's all right. Yeah, I love ancient Egypt. I like Egyptology too. It's really cool stuff. And I love archaeologists. So yeah, that was pretty fun. And that character, the one whose husband found the Stargate, or father found the Stargate, she comes back over and over and over again as a character in the series.
Is it the same actress?
No.
Ah, right.
She must be a Time Lord because she keeps regenerating different faces. She has like 7 different faces.
Like Ben Mitchell off EastEnders.
Exactly.
I don't know that reference.
Neither do I. I'm just pretending.
But what about... Go ahead, Connor.
I was just saying I do. I understand that reference.
Yeah. Well, what about the villains? What do you think about the Fret in this film? What do you think about the Fret? Because actually, they came far later on than I thought they would. And I thought they did. As I remembered, they came far later on.
Yeah.
I mean, the armoured guards with the great big, what do you call them, helmet thing, dog head thing. They're brilliant.
Dogs things, yeah. They're frightening, aren't they? They're pretty frightening.
The design of them, everything, the sets was brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah.
The design of the costumes were brilliant.
And I love the ring transporter.
And also I've got to say...
Go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, especially the...
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of a delay, Lee's end. There's a bit of a slight delay, Lee's end. Go ahead, Susan. What were you going to say about the rings?
I just love the way that they created a new transportation device too. Not only the Hatak, the ship that sits on the pyramid, but the way that you travel back and forth to the ship. It's pretty cool.
The CGI of the ship was very good when it was coming over the pyramid.
Yeah.
That looked awesome.
Yep.
And they built it up because the ending they built up. I thought the ending was good, and when the ship blew up at the end, because they kind of built it up because they gave you the teleporter rings early on, and then you used that to solve the to kill off the bad guy, in the film, and then they also killed off Daniel Jackson. During about the middle of the film, wasn't it? They killed him off towards the end, and then they used it to bring her back to life. Yeah. So they didn't just throw things in there. Do you know what I mean? They just didn't pull that out of a hat. They gave you those clues to the ending before the ending came. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought the script was very good, and I'll tell you what. And I'm probably going to go on a little bit of a rant. Right.
Here we go.
Because I watched X-Men Apocalypse the night before this, and that had very similar themes. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it had very similar themes. And it was about ancient Egypt and all this.
Yes, very much so.
About somebody staying alive and swapping bodies, because they're both swapping bodies and things like that to stay alive. This was far superior. That was a load of old crap. I mean, I quite like the X-Men films, but that was a load of crap. And this is far superior. This actually had a good script. Now, could it have been improved? Yeah, well, what can't be improved? I thought the direction sometimes wasn't great. The camera work, sometimes they could have made it more exciting. Do you know what I mean? The camera work, it seemed to be lacking in some areas. But I think it's a really good film and far better than Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse. And it wasn't too heavy on CGI, which Apocalypse was.
Well, for 1994, the time that it was made, it stands up to date from all these other modern films. As you say, it's not heavily laden with CGI. It's story based, really, and also you've got to give a big thumbs up for the music of it as well. The music does lend a big hand to get that atmosphere of the film, and that's a big thumbs up to David Arnold. Connor will know who David Arnold is.
Yeah, I was just saying the music.
Yeah, it's all in all.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Lee.
No, Connor.
Go ahead, Connor. Why have you said?
I thought that you were finished. I was just going to say that, David Arnold is someone that I'm particularly familiar with because he did some of the Bond films way after this. This is recent as 10 years ago. And he is very good with music. He doesn't feel too recycled from other composers in Hollywood. He's got his own style, his own approach to things. And it does suit this. I do like the soundtrack of this particular film. Even if the story is not always that great, but soundtrack and looks of films can often save it from a certain perspective, even though the writing is the most important part. If you have something visually to look at that's good, as the CGI in this was, I think, for the time, and also the soundtrack, then it sort of adds bonus points to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, there was one thing I was surprised about is Teal'c wasn't in this film. I always thought Teal'c was in it.
Teal'c was the prime Jaffa for Anubis, not for Ra.
Oh yeah.
There was actually the strange thing about this movie was that the Jaffa who served Ra were dressed like Anubis and the eagle one. There was the dog one, which was Anubis, and the eagle one, which was, I can't remember, Set or something like that. But anyway, different pharaohs or different gods, Egyptian gods.
So we might as well go on to our final say and score, shall we? Might as well, unless.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's go to Connor. Your final say and your score as well.
As I said, it was good. It was good visually. The soundtrack was great. The story wasn't that good, to be honest. It was a bit shabby. But as I said, it's my second sort of delve into Stargate, and it's much better than the first episode of SG1, I think. But as Ali said, if maybe you need to watch a bit more to get into it. Kurt Russell is by far the best part of the film, so I'll give this a 6 out of 10, I think.
And let's move to Lee. Go ahead, Lee.
Well, as I said, after realising I'd never seen the movie, I sort of enjoyed it a bit more. So I didn't know what the story entailed. Yeah, enjoyable. 2 hours, good action movie. With the Egyptology and all like that. James Spader, I've got to disagree with Connor. James Spader is the far better thing in this movie than Kurt Russell. So for me, I'm giving it a 8.
And Susan?
Well, because it's the start of all this good stuff to me, I think I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10. It isn't exactly a 10, but it's pretty good. And I've got the comic book, and the comic book is the comic book and the my VHS have been worn pretty thin because I really do like the story. So a 9 out of 10.
And I'm going to go along with Susan. I think it's a 9 because I thought that like I said, when I was going into it, I thought, I remember this being a mediocre film. I remember it being like a 5, something like that. You'd give it a 5, But actually, rewatching it now, the script is actually really good. And it is the beginning of an absolute amazing series. And the concept, the idea of it is amazing. I love the idea of just stepping through this gate and going to another world. The idea, the concept of it, and it's clever. And whoever thought Stargate up, they're clever people. And I thought it really did surprise me how much I enjoyed it. Like I said, I was going to watch 1 hour and then the other hour, because it's a 2-hour film, a separate viewing. But I watched it all the way through, and I think that says a lot. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was consistent. And another thing, which I'm just glad I just thought about actually, because I really want to add this, is that the tone was the same throughout the whole thing. It kept the same tone. Now, going back to X-Men Apocalypse, that was all over the place with the tone, and it was all over the place with jumping between scenes and jumping between characters. This was consistent. I mean, whether people liked it or not, it was consistent. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a 9. I think it's very, very, very underrated. Very underrated. I think people need to look again at this film and see how good actually it is. So I'm going to give it a 9. Because the series, like I said, the series is better. If you put it against the series, yeah, the series is better. You got Sam, you've got other characters that come into it. It develops, more of, this is like a pilot. This is like a pilot. the characters develop more in the series, and you get to see more of the threat, because you didn't really see a lot of the enemies in this one. Only towards the last 40 minutes did they start coming into it. Oh, Lee's just are you all right there, Lee? I thought you were going to fall through the floor then. I thought the ceiling your floorboards had gone. He lands in the bathtub in the in the toilet below. Anyway, so yes, that's it from us. That's it. We're off now. We're off to Connor's. We're gonna go and see him in his home, because if you don't know, he's now on deep medication, and he's now been put in a home.
Interesting.
So yes, we're gonna go over and see him in Leeds. We're gonna take some body armor just to be safe. You never know, dearly, in Leeds. And I'd like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Do tell us what you think about Stargate, whether it be the film or the series. And there are like 2 other spin-off films, aren't there? You know, 2 other Stargate Continuum, isn't it, Susan? And the Ori one with the Ark.
Yeah, there's the Ark of Truth and the and Continuum, and then there's another one.
I can't remember the one.
Oh, maybe that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just 2. Yeah, go and check those out. Tell us below what you think, and we'll see you next time. Lee.